Okay, here we go. Back to the podcast today. Maria joins me today. Um, just to tee this up, I know we're going to have a really powerful conversation today.
Mhm.
Um, I think I connected with Maria this year, early this year, probably on LinkedIn. And sometimes you just get a feel for somebody that I don't know what the word would be, but they're on a similar journey to you. They've got very similar values,
Mhm.
and I just knew that we needed to connect and have a conversation, which thankfully Maria was open to. Now, Maria, um, I think you would regard yourself as a somatic relational coach,
Mhm.
but I know your work, expands in multiple different directions.
Yes.
And what I felt from exploring your work, particularly on what you have in your site, was around intuition. And
Mhm.
as we're
Yes.
discussing just before we went live today, a lot of the challenges I hear from different leaders, whether they're in corporate or in
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, is around the effects of this constant pressure. Pressure from
Yes.
in work environments, pressure from home in the relationship. And what this generally tends to do is it disconnects us from ourselves. And that shows up in lots of different
Yes.
ways. But one of the ways we're going to talk about today is the difficulty in making aligned decisions when we're under pressure, because it basically this constant pressure disconnects us from ourselves. We can't get
Mhm.
clear on what truth is for us. And so we're making decisions from this place of fight or flight or this
Mhm.
survival mode, which just puts us in this, keeps us and digs us deeper into this energy of overwhelm. So we're
Yes.
making decisions from overwhelm, and we're moving slowly and slowly away from who we are in the process.
Mhm.
So there's a lot we can discuss today. I know we're going to have a deep conversation around this. But first of
Yeah.
all, Maria, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mark.
Great to have you here. And I'd love
Great
to
to be
start
here.
off, as we usually do, with a bit around your story in terms of what led you to this work, as deep as you, or as you'd like to go. Really,
Mhm.
there's no barriers on this podcast. So
Mhm.
wherever you'd like to pick it up in terms of what brought you to this work and why you're so passionate about it in particular.
Yeah. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Mark, for welcoming me to your beautiful and embodied podcast. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful and excited about our conversation. Um, so yes, the question that started it all: how
Mm,
did I get here? I was 21. I left my home country of Portugal, and I moved to England. My own journey slowly led me to meeting parts of me that I had never met, and as a result, I when we I mean, I'm feeling into it. Whenever we run away from our wounds
mm,
drive our life.
mm,
And for me, one of the bigger the bigger areas in which I noticed that was in relationships, um, and my ability to communicate, um, where I used to freeze a lot. I used to shut down anytime vulnerability was being asked of me. I would shut down. I couldn't engage. Um, and really realizing that I was the common denominator in all of my
mm,
relationships. It takes 50 and 50 to create any container, which is like the third one almost, isn't it? That third space that we
mm,
build. Um, two, three more, or a group. We always build a container. Um, but anyway, I really understood that in order to have a more enjoyable life, that there was some work that I needed to do with myself, that I needed to meet some parts of me that I was really scared of meeting. Otherwise, I could keep living the same life. I mean, no harm in that. I could keep
mm,
approaching the external world as a means of validation. I could have kept doing that, but I kept suffering a lot because of it.
mm,
And it was that kind of reminder of, oh, my external world is really taking my internal world on a ride, and through Buddhism and somatic psychotherapy and inner child coaching, and then a lot of training of my own on somatic attachment therapy, mind body coaching, neurolinguistic programming, sound healing, most recently grief coaching, among others, because I went through a stage of not stopping. But anyway, through that very journey, I really came to understand that the internal world is nourished and fostered by ourselves foremost. Anything around us is nothing but a reflection of what's going on inside. And I know that this sounds probably like a big concept for some people to wrap up the minds around, because for the mind it's just what
Yeah.
But in understanding that I was creating, well, actually, that through my own disconnection, I was living a reality that really was not feeling fulfilling and satisfying. I guess we are met at a crossroads. Whenever we come to these spaces, we can continue, or we have a big epiphany where we are asked to dive deeper and go into the shadow work and go into the depths of us. And where I am today, in fact, I was sat at a cafe yesterday, and I was in a city, and I was observing people, and I like to observe people. I don't know if you do that, Mark, where you just sit down
I
and
love that in a cafe.
yeah, and I was seeing all these different addictions and all these different, and I came to understanding that, oh my gosh, we feel so lonely. We feel so lonely, you know? And I really understood that, okay, it is about creating a safer relationship with ourselves and in turn with the planet around us. It's kind of simple, but it wasn't to get here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. It does all come down to this. We talk about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would think of our romantic relationship, for example, or relationships with our family.
Yes.
But it does all ultimately come down to one relationship, and that is a relationship with ourselves. And until we rebuild and repair that, then all our other external relationships will reflect our damaged relationship with ourselves. And when I say that, I mean, I was talking to someone else about this recently, which is that he was a productivity coach. And so he teaches people to be more optimize their work, basically. But a realization that he had was that productivity can become like an addiction, basically a way of escaping ourselves. And until we heal that relationship with ourselves, and what I mean by that is the ability to just sit with who we are in the present moment. And that's incredibly difficult for the mind to do, because it wants to maintain this busyness, this distraction. I would grab the phone, scroll, write a post, do a podcast, which is fine. But also, if we don't also take moments in the day to just sit with ourselves exactly as we are, and sometimes, I think that plant medicine work, breath work, this kind of work is fantastic. But also, I think it's really important to just sit with the present moment exactly as it is. Sit with boredom, for example. Sit with frustration. Sit with what you said there, this sense of loneliness. Can I just sit with loneliness? And that is ultimately, in my experience, having done a lot of this kind of work as well, is what we're all seeking. Although we seek it in the external validation, we think it's going to come from external validation, the next pay rise, the next
Mm.
promotion, the next business idea, or the revenue target. But again, nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
But if we're tying all our fulfillment and our sense of worth and safety to that external goal, you know, get the
Yeah.
goal, feels great, it wears off, and you're left feeling like you're missing something again. This is why I'm always talking about it on social media, which is that you've got to build this relationship with yourself first,
Yeah.
because ultimately that's the only place where lasting fulfillment, peace, and satisfaction can be found through reconnecting
Yes.
with yourself in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you've established that, then build on top of it with you know whatever it is, the career or the business or the revenue, whatever it is you're
Yeah.
seeking. Um, and just know that then, for me, real confidence is the ability to meet the challenges that will inevitably come up um, in the present moment. Like, you know, you can sit with the frustration or the disappointment or the failure, and it's just part of the journey. Whereas if you're tired, if you haven't got the relationship with yourself and you're just constantly seeking yourself and external,
Yeah.
failure hits and it destroys you. A relationship breaks down, it destroys you, you know, and you're completely
Yeah.
lost. Whereas if you know, like, okay, I can just come back to myself, that's always there, that's omnipresent,
Yeah.
and I can move through it. Like you said, grief.
Yes.
Oh, you know,
Yes.
I will just break you apart and destroy you.
Yeah.
But okay, can I sit with grief in my system? Yes, it's incredibly difficult,
Yes.
but I know there's some stability within me, and I can witness it and be with it
Yes.
instead of, you know, it completely, you know, breaking me apart. But
Yes.
is that kind of the way you'd reflect on it as well? Particularly, I'm interested in something like grief. I know you've explored this
Mm.
quite a lot recently, but that's certainly how I view personal development now. But how about your view on that?
Yeah, I really appreciate your view there, Mark. And I love what you said specifically. It was kind of at the beginning of your reflection where you said, we are looking for that pay rise. We are looking for that, you know,
Mm,
that just that milestone. And the beauty of it is just allow yourself to experience that milestone. Allow yourself and then feel, because often when there's something extra that we are looking for, we will feel a void.
mm,
um I've been there, where I'm
yeah.
like, the thing I really wanted and I thought it's gonna bring me that sense of
Mm,
wholesomeness within me, and then I experienced it and I'm like, what now?
mm,
What now? What's the next thing to chase? And I use the word chase because it is often this journey of, it's and
I'm
again
not enough.
going,
Yeah.
yes, and I'm going
Mm,
into this kind of maybe touching upon an attachment stance, the attachment stance of anxiousness, the anxious attachment stance of like, I need that thing to feel better, I need
mm,
that interaction to feel better, I need that person's validation to feel better.
yeah.
And then that thing comes, and because there is a certain lack of coherence within, where we are not meeting some part of us, that's simply been asked to meet us,
Mm,
us, you know. And my gosh, the emotion and that may come from that, you know, often can be quite huge.
mm,
But as I was saying, as that part is asking to be met and we are just seeking outside, it never feels enough. It never feels enough. And guess what? Good news, bad news, it will never feel enough. So what's we're at the crossroads. It's grey on paper. I mean, life can look tick 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 tick, did it all.
yeah.
But what's after that? So it kind of is about the journey and the presence with the journey.
Mm,
Um and the presence with what is here inside of me, inside of any, you know, anyone who's watching. I mean, you now, anyone, what is inside of me. And for example, for me right now, I might be like, I feel super excited to be chatting with you, having this conversation. And I still feel a little bit nervous or anxious about even getting something
Mm.
wrong or saying something that someone might not get.
Mm.
And I'm kind of okay. I can feel that part of me, and I'm
Yeah.
with that part, and it doesn't have to change, and I don't have to go, hey, get out of here. You're kind of getting in
Yes.
my way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, little one, yeah, come along, sit beside me. It's all good. You feel nervous? Okay, let's sit here with me, and let's both have this journey together. And
Mm.
that is the dance. That is the dance. And when that comes, when we are able to meet ourselves with presence, then it's not so much about tick, 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 but about, gosh, I feel joyful, or gosh, I feel grief, and I'm going to sit with it. And it's going to be tough, but I'm going to sit with it. Gosh, I feel like I need 30 minutes. I can't actually have this meeting. Big one.
Mm.
Majority of us just go, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm
Yeah, no, I'll
fine.
be
Yeah.
good for that time. And to go, actually, you know something? I need to honor myself. I'm not feeling, there's something within me that I need to work with. Because
Mm.
the biggest disappointment will be when we miss ourselves. Always.
Mm.
Always, you know?
And I think this comes, in my own experience, because I think a lot of it, my own experience in 20 years, 30 years of my life, not having any knowledge about any of this stuff.
Yes.
Um, and no one tells us about it, do they, when we're growing up? Certainly I wasn't, nobody explained this stuff to me when I was
Yeah.
growing up. And so everybody's living in this conditioned mind, which basically is the thoughts that we experience that sort of dominate our lives. And we
Mhm.
assume, because everybody else is doing the same, that we are our thoughts. So at some point, they take over
Yeah.
completely and we identify with them. But
Mhm.
this thought process is not really who we are. It's like, I always explain, it's like a computer that we can use. It's an amazing tool, but a
Yeah.
lot of people are now believe they are the tool, and that's very dangerous because the conditioned mind basically is an amalgamation of different voices that we've experienced through our lives, our parents
Yes.
or um, caregivers or friends or
Mhm.
even society.
Mhm.
Different voices that we hear, and it's all conditioned, meaning that basically it's not who we are. It's like a piece of software
Mhm.
that we're running in the background.
Yeah.
And because of that, this mind, basically, or the ego, is very interested in survival. Number one, is very interested in, um, how it appears to the external world. So it's very interested in, oh, I need to have that house or that car so I can appear
Yeah.
to be better than that person. So I'm not lower than this person. And so I think that's why I'm interested in your reflection on this, Maria, because
Mhm.
um, I'm interested in how we disconnect from our true and authentic voice, you could say, like this voice, because something I always refer back to is that the most common regret of people at the end of their lives, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, there's a book written about this by a palliative health nurse, talks about the number one regret being, I wish I'd lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Yeah.
That's the number one regret people have at the end of their lives. When they're about to pass over to the other side, they suddenly
Yes.
realize, oh, I lived a life that wasn't true for me. And for me, that comes because we're so identified with our conditioned mind, which isn't really us. It's like the voice of our society or our family or whatever it might be. So I'm really interested in how can we start to reconnect with the life that's really true for us and make decisions from that place when we're under the pressures of our daily life and life of, not just our work and our relationships, our finances, and there's all this external pressure coming on us, which drives us into the head, the conditioned mind. How do we begin to unhook from that and start making decisions from who we really are and what we really want?
Okay. Beautiful, by the way. Um, you touched upon the um, most common regret, having lived life by everybody else's expectations but ourselves.
Mm.
And there is a saying that I absolutely love. And it goes like this: no one ever says on their deathbed, I wish I had spent more time on my business.
Mm.
That's another one. And that's interesting, that's kind of, without wanting to take us away from the question, it's often one that I like to reflect on when I'm like too mired in, you know what I mean? And I'm
In
like,
fact, what are the other five regrets? One of them is I wish I hadn't worked so hard, or I wish I'd
yes,
stayed in touch with my friends. And
yes,
it's really interesting. Anyone could search it on Google. Look at those five regrets, because that's at the end of life is when truth emerges. You get access to real truth, and generally, exactly as you said, it's this realization that I was chasing things that weren't aligned for me. In other words, I was stuck in my conditioned mind. I wasn't connected to myself through life, and I missed
yes,
it. I missed the opportunity, basically. But then obviously it's too late. So it's great to
absolutely,
reflect on this stuff now. What it is, while you've got a chance to do something about it in
yeah,
midlife, for example. Hmm.
absolutely, yeah. um and yeah, the five regrets of the dying, I think that is the book.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
that right,
Yeah.
Mark? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
um I actually have worked in the past with a lot of palliative patients, so I have
Right.
had
So
yeah,
you got your own experience.
yep,
Wow. Yeah.
firsthand. So yeah, that can actually opened my eyes to a lot more and my heart to a lot more.
Right.
But your question there, how do we authentically connect with our
Mm.
authenticity, our genuine nature, when life is asking us to move in all directions all the time?
Mm.
But I'm going to start from on a linear timeline. Children, we are children, right? And here we are adults, or entering that stage.
Mm-hmm.
So as children, we come in whole, complete, full of excitement for this planet. Oh my God, what's here to experience?
Mm.
And then our beautiful caregivers, our beautiful parents, our beautiful society, and all the things has their own, or have their own blocks from the generations past. And because they are working from the wound, they are living from the wound, they are simply passing down trauma. Because until we look up at our own trauma and our own wounding with the eyes of curiosity, compassion, and non judgment, we will keep playing it out over and over again.
Mm.
So that's what happens. We inherit some of that trauma, and some, some of the narratives, some of the stories, some of the ways in which they see life. And we believe that's how we see life. And we feel, and we are sensitive, or we are loud, or we are super duper expressive, or we don't like maths, or we love maths, or
Mm.
we like to spend a lot of time alone, or we want to be the king or queen of the castle. Anyway, at any point where that is seen as wrong, where that is seen as too much, or that is seen as simply not aligned with the values that the family or the society at large may hold,
Mm.
then we are shut down in those authentic expressions of ourselves. And something happens. It's too much for the child to understand that it's the caregiver, it's society at large, or other teachers, organizations, institutions that have got it wrong, because the child needs certainty to survive.
Yes.
And the child has that kind of egocentric view of the world, which is, it must be me, I am the problem, I must be the
Mm.
faulty one, I must be the disjointed one, so I need to create a version of me that fits perfectly this
Right.
puzzle, however dysfunctional this puzzle might be. And as a child, we will never know, right?
Mm.
So we build this around this dysfunctional piece. And I kind of like the analogy. And we just continue this dysfunctional piece throughout our lives
Mm.
until one day we are sat in front of somebody or nature or a psychedelic experience or a therapist or I don't know who, or some kind of, I don't know, crumbling down of our life where we go, oh my gosh, this is not me. I've been living a lie all this time. How do I fix it? First, sometimes we may need a bit of extra help depending. As I said, from, I don't know, a therapist, I don't know, an experience, I don't know, something. And yet sometimes we may just need nature. We may just need a really beautiful group of people who can support us. And slowly, and we actually need to meet ourselves first and foremost, which is to sit with us. And a lot of sometimes quiet space is required for that. So how do we claim that connection again? We basically embrace joy. We embrace what lights me up, because sometimes it's really hard to understand how do I, in this very moment where we are right now, what would bring me more joy? And yes, sometimes that could be leaving the job, and that might not be possible, or leaving this position that I'm no longer wanting to be part of. So where can I connect with my joy in this very moment? Be it look at the tree outside, take a walk, sit with myself, go paint or go draw, and follow that thread one by one. And another one that is completely the opposite of joy is connect with your pain safely, connect with your grief safely, connect with it. Because through the depth of going in to those emotions that we feel might swallow us up, through meeting those emotions, we actually are going to meet a depth, a new depth inside of us, where we can meet again joy and life as it is, with a newfound excitement.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot there. It's difficult work, and that is the thing.
Yes, it is.
It's the harder path, but it's the one that leads to joy in the long run. And that's the thing. The easy path is, well, I'll just continue on this path. I'll keep distracting myself. I'll keep busy. I'll just keep productive. And this is quite a dangerous one, but it is the easy path. And if you don't hit a dead end at some point, in other words, a lot of people I speak to is like they've had some kind of burnout or breakdown or whatever it might be. But there's actually a gift there because it forces you to change. Most people will just continue on the same path, and as I said earlier, get to the end of life and realize they missed it, that the opportunity's gone. Now I know what I should have done, but it's too late. So there's actually a gift if you do experience some kind of breakdown in midlife, which so many people I speak to have experienced, and then that wakes you up. Oh, okay. Maybe I do need to prioritize myself more, and not prioritize my boss or my partner or whatever it is above myself. One of the biggest patterns I see in the people I work with, which is this people pleaser pattern, putting the needs of others above my own. And we've all got that pattern to a degree, whether that's in a relationship, whether it's in our work, whether it's our clients and our business, we put that above our own well-being, and that will only end one way ultimately, which is disconnecting from ourselves. Putting something else above the connection to ourselves will slowly erode that connection in the long run. And as you said beautifully, there's no shortcut. You have to, if you want to reconnect with yourself and your intuition and make clearer decisions, the first thing is to start actually, the way you can reconnect with yourself is not through, you can do some great work in terms of journaling, uncovering values and exploring boundaries and what to say, etc. And I do that work in my program as well. But first of all, you have to go to the foundation of who you are and how you can reconnect with yourself in the present moment. And that means meeting these really uncomfortable emotions that we've have suppressed or avoided, pushed away and kept busy to avoid this feeling sad or avoid feeling disappointed or whatever it is. And that's, I think, where support is really important. Because initially the mind will just give you 1,000 reasons not to do that. Oh, yeah, but I'm supposed to do this today. Or, oh, I've got that meeting in a moment, so I can't do it now. Or I'm very tired this evening, so I won't do it now. The mind is very clever and it will constantly give you a reason not to just sit with your present moment felt experience. Like it's the last thing the mind wants to do. It would much rather go on Instagram for the next hour scrolling or on YouTube or whatever it is on Netflix. It'd much rather do that than actually sit with the feeling of misalignment, exhaustion or sadness or whatever it is. And that is where I find support is really important because we need somebody to create a safe space, container, field for us to actually come to a place, of rest and stay with these really difficult emotions long enough for them to be integrated. Like you said, the parts of ourselves, the childhood parts of ourselves that we've distanced ourselves from or rejected, to actually sit with that stuff and allow it to be reintegrated again. It requires a lot of support and a very safe space for you to be able to stay with this stuff for long enough. But it can take a lot of time. For some people, it takes a few months for people to actually start to feel below the neck. I know we talked about this before, Maria, but a lot of people live above the neck. In other words, they live in their thoughts. And initially, they might come to me or another coach or therapist, and they can't feel anything below the neck. They can't feel any sensation in the body. Reconnecting with yourself starts with beginning to feel through your present moment experience. That's the only way it can begin. A lot of people, leaders in the space, they're directed to, a coach might direct them to, we're going to change your behavior. We're going to create a different strategy for you. We're going to create a different routine for you. We're going to set better boundaries for you, which is fantastic. Or the other thing is we're going to work on your mindset. So we're going to, we're going to think more positively. We're going to reframe your thinking. All great work. But if it's not built on that foundation of reconnecting who you are in the present moment, you're still going to be operating from a place of overwhelm because you're not meeting your emotional experience. Emotions like stress and pressure are still there in the body. They're not being processed. So that is where I think support is really important. It has been for me, and it's really important for people I work with, is that support to be able to feel through what's happening in the body. And then, so from there, how do you in particular help people reconnect with the intuition in particular? So I guess by that, well, you can explain it, but for me, that means making decisions that feel right for you rather than what you think you should do. But how do you reflect on the word intuition?
Okay. First of all, I wanna honor what you said there with that reflection that you brought forward with. Yeah, people bring all these, which, hey, there's value in them. There's value in offering different approaches. However, if we are not meeting the person in the present, as you said, we are actually, we can further cause disruption because those, in different work, we can call them protectors, like in internal family systems. Anyway, there's so many modalities, but the protecting part of us, the protective part, they become angrier, or the child becomes even more lonely and even more frustrated. And as a result, then certain actions, we just start feeling a larger kind of gap between what's here, and then we create a third persona, which is kind of brings all kinds of complexity to it, which is this persona that looks great, that seems to have it all figured, but then it's usually with our loved ones that we and this is when we will see the third persona, which is like a lot of people say, what? But they are such good therapists or such good coaches or they are such good leaders. But then at home, they're just freaking loser, or they cannot be with their family, or they don't have space for the more intimate relationships because they don't have space for themselves.
Fun. Yeah.
And that can lead to like some pathologies in the body, inflammation rises because for the body just feels so, it's so violent to be dismissed in such a way where, no, I'm just going to create this third persona, which is not the one that was built to survive my environment when I was younger. But now it's a third persona that's surviving this adult reality. So this question that you asked me on how to connect with our intuition, and it's funny because I'm like, I think years ago, Mark, I would have gone, yeah, and you connect with this, and you. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, it can be so complex because if we are working from wound, intuition can feel like avoiding different things. Like for example, because intuition speaks in such a, and I don't know if for you it's the same, it speaks in such a subtle,
Yeah.
do that.
Quiet.
It's very clear, isn't it? Clear but subtle, do that. And he speaks in silence often. We need to meet it in silence, in the quiet of the world between ourselves and I don't know, nature, or just a certain quiet, or just in our room, or in, I don't know, in the bathroom, whatever, where we are connecting with ourselves. But it's met in silence. And it's often met with a regulated nervous system.
Yeah. Good point.
So maybe a simple way right now would be through journaling. I have found, you said journaling, because I'm just touching upon the very beginning of connecting with our intuition. And for you, I wonder if it felt very foreign. For me, it did. I was like, what is that? What? Like, but it is met in silence. It is met sometimes through journaling if we are disconnected, quite disconnected from our bodies. If it's all in, if we live from here to, you know. And an exercise that I often ask people, first of all, get yourself somewhere relaxing. Go for a walk in the woods, go for a walk near the ocean. And once you feel that you are really connecting with you, maybe even ask, how am I feeling today? And something might come, upset or joyful, and meet that. Hi, joy, hi, upset, hi, worry. I'm here with you, and allow that to be there. And then from there, I work with our body as a barometer, you know. For example, I could ask myself, it's raining outside right now. Or I could say to myself, it's raining outside right now. And for me, I don't know what you feel, Mark, but I feel a tightness in my stomach. I feel like, like a contraction. And I'm like, okay, that's my no. That's my intuition's no. And I feel that the intuition somehow resides within the kind of around the stomach, around this area, and then I can ask myself, it's warm today, or I can say it's warm today, and I feel a lightness in my body. I feel, for example, for me, there's like a certain kind of like a tingling or warmth that I feel around like the front of my body, like here, and that's my yes. So I kind of work with my intuition in that way. And I wonder if for people this might be of value, where you can just ask yourself a question, or say, or give yourself a fact that,
Yeah.
it's warm, and give yourself the opposite of the fact and check that with your body. Or you can even say, give me a yes, body, give me a no. And I do this every day. I do this every day. I ask myself to give me a yes and to give me a no. And again, as I said, the intuition will speak in very nuanced, kind of that very light voice that comes. And when you say yes to, we are talking about meetings. Just let's continue with the theme of meetings. Can you make that meeting today? And I go, yeah. And I can feel it. I'm feeling like a tightness,
Wow.
because I'm like, actually, no, I said I was going to meet a friend. So I'm
Right.
feeling that. And I'm like, right. Or when we are with someone who we feel might actually drain us rather than nourish us, and we
Yeah.
have that, this is not working anymore, or so it comes in those kind of nuanced ways. And for a leader to make decisions based on intuition, again, it's like, first and foremost, connect with what you need first, because chances are you cannot connect with your intuition when you are feeling disorientated inside, upset, angry. Chances are we're just going to continue creating more chaos out of it. So I often feel it's the quiet and the silence first and foremost. I wonder, is this answering your question, Mark, at all?
Very much, very aligned to what I teach. I've got a whole module on this in my program, and very much very similar to what you're talking about. I mean, if I was to summarize the key, I'm going back to my career in advertising and corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's so hard. And I think the reason why so many of us are completely disconnected is because it is this constant doing, this constant, meeting after meeting after meeting, deadline after deadline after deadline, expectations. And so you're living in this place of just overwhelm, and everyone around you is living in overwhelm. And so you think, oh, this is just the way it is. And exactly what you talked about, because intuition is like a silent voice that comes through when you're regulated and when you're at rest, when you're quiet. And so if you never get that, you've got no access to your intuition. So it's no surprise that most people live their lives completely feeling like they've lost themselves and on the way somewhere, because they never pause long enough to. Oh yeah, some people have like a 2-week holiday a year and they rest, maybe, but most of the time it's like you're still scrolling your phone or whatever it is. And then the other 15 weeks of the year, you're in this kind of overwhelmed state, which means that the mind goes into overdrive, and you're just led by your thoughts. And as you said, if you're making decisions from that place of overwhelm, then you just create more and more of it, and you get further and further away from yourself. So the key, as you said, first of all, you have to find a way to integrate rest into your daily routine. This is something I talk about all the time. Rest isn't like something you do on retreat or on holiday or vacation. It's something you need to do every day. And so there's a couple of things I want to say. But there's a big piece here on boundaries, I think, because without those healthy boundaries, you will be led by the expectations of others, which means that your day will be full of, in corporate, for example, I think about my experience, your day will be full of meetings, basically, and deadlines and an expectation to work late or start earlier or skip your lunch, whatever it might be, because you're constantly like playing catch up. And you don't want to disappoint anybody because that makes you feel guilty, basically. And so you're constantly sacrificing yourself for the needs of others. And there's no space to actually reconnect to who you are in the present moment and actually just listen and see what your intuition is telling you. And the other piece I want to talk about, intuition for me, the way I teach it is more of a felt sense, exactly as you said. So and a practice I do with my clients is exactly what you said, listening for your truth, because it will feel differently for each person. So like a fact, the way I do it is, okay, just pause for a moment now and say to yourself, my name is, and insert your name. So Maria would say, my name is Maria. My name is Maria. My name is Maria. I say, my name is Mark. My name is Mark. My name is Mark. Saying a truth to yourself and seeing how that feels within your body. This might be quite difficult to detect if you're new to this kind of work.
Yes.
But for me, as I say that, it's like a pleasant feeling that comes through. It's like an expansion in the center of the chest. Right? It's just like, I feel good saying that. It's truth to me. And for me, that's where my intuition is. It's kind of more in the heart center. If you then contrast that with something you know that not is true. So if I say, my name is John, for example, or Maria says, my name is Sarah, and say that to yourself a few times, my name is John, my name is John, my name is John, that feeling disappears and I get like a contraction in the solar plexus, a bit lower down, and a sense that I feel unsafe, I feel uneasy, and generally I just don't feel good at all. So when you know what truth feels like in your system, truth for me is, I could go a bit deeper here, but that essentially is your true self. I don't want to go too much down the kind of spiritual path here, but essentially who you are is truth, is alignment. And so if you know what that feels like in your system, you can make decisions based on who you really are. So if you, for example, I've had a few decisions to make this year about whether I do this particular program, for instance. Okay, let me pause. Let me just sit with myself for a while. I usually do this after meditation, so I'm coming from a grounded place. How does it feel to do this particular program? If I get that feeling of expansion and ascending the chest, that is a yes. That's a truth. That is the higher for the true self saying to me, this is the path that will take you closer to me, who you truly are. If I get that contraction lower down, that essentially is a misalignment. That's something that isn't true for me. So if you're living in the mind, what tends to happen is that it will guide you towards things that aren't aligned for you, but they're expected of you. Oh, this other person thinks I should do that. This other person, this salesperson says I should do it. I will override how it feels in my own system and do it to make them feel better. For example, rather than, okay, I'm resourced, I'm connected to myself. How does it feel? It feels great. And I said, great. I'm going to do what I can to make that happen. That's just an example of how I teach it, but it's so true what you said. Like you have to be able to find a place, whether you go for a walk in nature, whether you journal, whether you meditate, where you can pause and actually listen and do it from a regulated place. Because most of us are acting from dysregulation the whole time. We're exhausted, we're tired, we're overwhelmed. And from that place, your mind gets very loud and the intuition gets shut off, basically. So I love the fact that you said that. But there's also a piece I just want to discuss about boundaries here, because I can hear a lot of people will be saying, well, for example, if they're a leader in corporate, well, it's all right for you, for example, you're able to create your own routine. But if you're back-to-back meetings all day in a leadership position, you're managing a team, running a business, I haven't got time for any of that. I've got family as well. So I'm just wondering, how would you reflect to somebody perhaps who's in that place about setting healthy boundaries, for example, when you've got so much external pressure coming your way?
Such a good question. Such a good question. And by the way, I want to say I love your approach, because it's like, I can't get more fact orientated than a name.
Exactly.
I love that.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It's like this. Yeah, I love that, Mark. That's brilliant. I love that. I bet your clients get a lot of value out of it, because I was like, I love that. And I want to add a little. May I add something when it comes to intuition before moving on to boundaries? Because he was speaking to me. Intuition will not come out of a place of fear.
Yeah.
Someone might say, my intuition told me to. Intuition will not come from a place of fear, and it will not usually ask you to be unkind and to be mean or to be like. Intuition usually is clear, crystal, and it doesn't give you reasons why. That's usually the mind. It just says no or yes. Do this, follow that, leave this. But it will not come with fear. And this is the thing. I've seen many people going, my intuition sounds like there's fear there. The intuition will just bring that sense of unknown, like, okay. But there will be a peace and an inner clarity that comes with, oof, okay, this, So I just wanted to add that too.
And essentially, I mean, you talk about interbeing a lot. I know in the work you do, but
Yeah.
that's where it comes from, isn't it? It comes from a place of
Yes.
connectedness to all. So it's not
Yes.
interested in how you can dominate someone else. For example, it's interested in the well-being of everyone, and
Yes.
that for me is real truth. And you said it's very simple a lot of the time as well, which you can always tell that that's your intuition coming through.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, so you are asking about boundaries, actually.
Mm.
I did a beautiful workshop for my local council, for, local activists and CICs and so forth. And anyway, there were quite a few, people there who, I was happy for them to be there anyway, because they're making such big changes. And part of this workshop, I wanted to work with boundaries. And I mean, wow. We could do a whole new episode about
Yes,
this.
maybe we will the next
Oh
one.
my God, yeah, because it's like, yes. And I'm going into your question. There's meeting back to back. There, I'm being asked to do that, deliver the project before the 18th, do that right. And boundaries, because they, again, I work with the body somatically, mind body. Some of the boundary work I do is with the body. So for example, one of them will be, and I don't know if this might be helpful for anyone watching, but if you say, and I'm going to give an exercise here, and the exercise will be to say no, but with the hands forward. No, no. And to do this a few times. No. And I mean, I'm not stretching my arm fully because I've got my computer here
Yeah,
and I need it still.
you're
But the idea is that if you can do it standing up and saying no and stretching those hands. Because again, boundaries, if we have not been modeled healthy boundaries, because healthy boundaries are different from walls. This is me, this is who I am, different.
Yeah.
I require this because I work better. For example, I understand that you need to see me in the next half hour. However, in order for me to work well, I need my lunch. I feel my body enters a certain dysregulated space, or I feel anxious, or I feel really cranky. I need my lunch. So I understand that you need to have that boundary, that you need to have that meeting, but I will need to have my lunch first. Don't need to give it. Don't need to give reasons. I need to have my lunch first. And to also meet the person, I understand that for you that's important, and I need this. So it doesn't come from you, because sometimes we can kind of make it about the person. No, it's about us. What do we need in order to function best in our day to day? What do I need in order to be in my body, grounded, centered throughout my day? So it's not about the world around me, it's about me. What do I require? And to go from that place, I need 5 minutes of peace. I don't know, getting home, the kids are everywhere. Dad or mom, darling, I need 5 minutes to just go sit outside. And I'll come back and I'll hear all about it. I'll be excited, but I need 5 minutes. So it comes from the I to, if I can leave anything for anyone needing to work with their boundaries, do this simple exercise every day, every morning. No, even go to the bathroom and say this to yourself if you're in the office, and look in a mirror so that you can meet yourself eye to eye, and feel what it's like to receive your own no's. And then speak from the I require this in order to function best. I need the afternoon off. I'm not going to be available for any more meetings. And yes, people may, because this will happen. We would love to think, oh, I will be met in my boundaries. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Not
People
at
will
first.
push. Often people who have not and even understood how to have boundaries themselves, those are the ones pushing your own boundaries. And they will say, but listen, but I need and they are working with their own anxieties and their own not being able to meet whatever is within them. So it is our job to meet ourselves in our needs. I mean, I can't come back to the self enough. Come back to the self. What do I require? With kindness. I don't need to go and, because it's about me. It's not about someone being difficult. It's about what do I require in order to be my best self for myself and everybody around me. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I do a similar exercise in this module of my program, which is around, saying the boundary out loud, but saying it from a tone, a grounded tone within what we call the lower chakra. So instead of saying, I need to have my lunch, or I need to have my lunch, that kind of questioning tone.
Yes.
It's like, I need to have my lunch. Like, you feel the difference. And that's how you set a boundary. It's not really what you say, it's when you say it wrong. It's the energy around it. If you say it from a grounded place, I need to have my lunch, people will respect that. If you say it from up here, I need to have my lunch, people can feel, they can push that, they can that comes from a powerful place.
Yeah.
One other thing that I want to add in here, the reason why it's often so difficult in my experience is because there's an underlying feeling there in the body, like that feeling of guilt or fear of disappointing someone else. So that's really important to first meet that part. There's a lot about parts, your childhood part that feels like if I don't say yes, I will be rejected, or I'll face. I mean, that's what it's all. Fear is ultimately, isn't it? It's about being excreted from the tribe. There's all this stuff way back in our evolution, like I will be alone, basically, I will die. But in our history, if we didn't go along with other people, we were rejected from the tribe, and that's it. We're dead. So there is this there's a survival mechanism in place that, that yes is coming from a place where it was important to our survival, but it's not the case anymore. We can say yes if we do it confidently. We can beat that guilt or that fear, that shame, whatever it is, coming from the solar plexus of the stomach. Okay, let me meet that myself. Let me give myself, and a lot of this is around giving yourself a pause, isn't it? Give myself a moment. Instead of the instant reply, take a moment. Instead of replying, okay, you can just say, I need to, I'll get back to you later. Or, I just need to not sit with it. You wouldn't say that in corporate. I mean, in my people I work with, they'd understand that I need to sit with it. But you could say like, I'll get back to you 2:00 or whatever it is. Give yourself some time to reconnect with yourself. In other words, sit with what's coming up in the moment in the body. And then it's easier to give that, to set that boundary from a place where you really mean it, and they will really feel it. So, but not easy work, as you said. For a lot of people, especially if they're used to you having no boundaries, it's very, they will continue to try and push initially until they get a sense of, okay, you really mean it. You really are holding this within yourself. The way I describe it is, a lot of people they think boundaries are about rejecting the other person. But I call it boundaries aren't about rejection, it's about protection. By protecting who you are, and you can't serve others, you can't support your family if you're always overwhelmed, dysregulated. So that's why you always have to put yourself first. You do better work at home and in your work, you'll perform better if you do respect your own boundaries. Now, it's one thing to understand that, another thing doing it in real life situations, which is again why support is really important, I feel. Certainly early on, where you're just kind of reprogramming yourself.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, Maria. Anything else you'd like to add on that subject, or anything else we discussed today?
And I want to, it's beautiful what you said, that this is work where we need to, it's important that we are meeting ourselves first. And the child inside of us that was petrified of saying no, because I don't know, was either shut down, could be, could have been, there could have been worse repercussions as a result of saying no. So it's about meeting that child first. Sure. Okay, darling, I feel your anxiety. What are you worried about? Anxiety, what are you worried about? I'm worried I will be dismissed. You are worried you will be dismissed. No wonder you feel anxious. And one of the things I also add is anxiety. You are allowed to live in my body. And I say this, anxiety, you are allowed to live in my body. And I give myself some space. You know, anxiety and in fear of being shutting down, you are allowed to live in my body. It's like giving it that space. Allow it to live in your body because it's there.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you reject it, it gets even stronger. Yeah.
Yeah,
You resist, persist. Yeah.
absolutely. And from there, then you can, okay. And yet, this is what right now I require. And I just want to say, because we are relational beings, I mean, some of this work, I have seen sometimes that when we are not doing this work from a place of relationality, we become a bit disconnected, and we feel it's about the others being this or that. And my question is, how can we relate with each other and yet be kind with our own selves? Because we don't exist alone. As much as society has tried to put it to us that we can do it alone, we can go it alone. We can't. We can't go it alone. We can do it for so long, but we will become probably ill as a result of being alone for so long. What is it? A research study says that loneliness equals to smoking so many cigarettes a day. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So what I want to leave here, because often when we put this work forward, I've been through a mark where I disconnected from a lot of people. It's about me, it's about we can sometimes kind of become too self-absorbed. We mustn't forget that we are relational. I mean, as my business goes into being, the reason I am here is not solely because I happen to be placed on the planet. I'm here to learn to love better. I'm here to learn to listen better. Listen to myself, listen to another, listen to you, listen to. We are here to listen to each other better and love each other better. But that will come always from us. That's the thing. These vessels first, our fragmented parts first, and then we meet the world with the same compassion we would hope for someone to meet us. I wanted to leave this because I just see a lot of spiritual bypassing. It's all about you. You are making this, and it's like, listen, we're all still humans. So we need to meet each other in our humanness too.
Yeah. Important to be compassionate with ourselves. It's not like I always get this right, or I'm sure you always get this right, Maria. There are times when my boundaries might slip, or I react instead of respond in the moment. I've got an 8-year-old, and she tests my patience a lot of the time. But always, it's about, for me, a lot of it is about self-compassion. Like, okay, do your best. And I like what you said there, because this is something, a mantra I kind of live by now, which is that my own regulation comes first, because I can't support my clients or my family, or wife and daughter if I'm coming from a dysregulated place. So that means for me, I prioritize the first couple of hours of the day are all about my connecting to myself, yoga, gratitude, meditation. I go for a walk in the middle of the day, and I do what I call a presence practice in the evening, which means I connect with my community and we just sit in meditation and offer support to each other. That for me is really important, because it allows me to process. Because when you're connected with another person, your system feels safe, supported, connected, and it can process a lot of the emotions like stress and pressure that's built up during the day. And then I can go into the evening part with my wife, where I'm coming from a resource place instead of carrying all that dysregulation into the relationship. So that kind of routine will look different for everybody depending on what you can do.
Yes.
But what I teach is to build into your routine practices where you can reconnect with yourself on a regular basis, whatever that means for you, and however you can fit it in. Because the reason, if we don't do that, then that's the reason why we get to the end of life and we go, oh, I lost myself somewhere along the way. It's too late now. So that it's a big reason to start thinking about this stuff now. You've still got opportunities, you've still got the chance to avoid these kind of regrets at the end of life. I don't think that's a fear-based thing, but ultimately, I think that's what we're here for. To understand ourselves, know thyself, isn't it? Know yourself more, reconnect with yourself, and once you put yourself first in your own regulation and resourcing, and then that enables you to support others, those around you in that place. So I think we're very much on the same page with a lot of this stuff. So I really appreciate your reflection on this, Maria.
I just want to say also, I love what you said there, and the practice is so important to connect with practices, and it will look different for everybody. Like for someone might be just go for a meditative walk, or I don't know, or sit in a garden, or for someone might be connecting with the higher self, or I don't know. For me, it's somatic practices, and energetic practices, but you will look different for all of us because we're all different. And you said very beautifully to connect with others from a regulated space, which comes with meeting you first. And I just want to say co-regulation, babies, children, first of all, we learn how to regulate through co-regulation, which is another presence in a room. Another presence in a room, just kind of, grounded. Okay, I can breathe. There's a grounded presence next to me. So this is big work, responsible work, and leadership, responsible leadership work to show up grounded. Because co-regulation is actually one of the most beautiful tools that we can use, especially in big groups, in organizations, in corporations. We can create such beautiful meetings. Doesn't have to be all, slide. No, drop the slide for a bit. Connect with each other. Connect with yourselves.
Imagine that in a corporate environment, like sitting co-regulation for 10 minutes first. And that's what I do in all my communities now. But that would be seen as a waste of time in the environments I was in. What we're just going to sit in silence. Hang on, we've got a deadline.
But it's not because that increases productivity. This is what people don't realize. Your employees, your team will be far more productive when they're happy. I can assure you.
Instead of working from this constant place of not enough, like we're behind, or we're not going to hit this deadline.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I'd love to see more of that. And I like when you pointed on something there, is because majority of us haven't had, our parents or caregivers haven't, because they weren't taught this kind of stuff. It just wasn't available, so that they're never really truly present themselves, and so there isn't that ability to co-regulate as we're growing up, which creates all these kind of distortions as we're growing older. So we do need each other. That's the way we are as human beings. We're not like a wolf, not even a wolf, but like a leopard, for example, it exists on its own. It's quite happy. We exist in packs and groups and tribes, so we need each other to regulate, and that involves. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible, I find, to regulate yourself on your own. Like you sit for yourself in meditation, your mind's all over the place. It's in this problem-solving mode. But if you sit with someone else who is, and you do this via Zoom, you sit with someone else who is regulating, your system will template theirs, and you can find your regulation and ground very quickly in the space of about 5 minutes, I find. Suddenly you're feeling much more grounded and safe and supportive of yourself just by sitting with someone else who is grounded already. Big part of why I teach. That's a great. I love that you pointed that out as well.
Beautiful.
I'm sure we could talk all day about this stuff easily, but let's leave it there for today. Leave it on the next episode that we can connect again. We have a lot of ground today. But thank you, Maria. Anywhere you'd like to direct people to in terms of your own website or LinkedIn or wherever you feel that would be the best place for people to start.
Thank you, Mark. I want to thank you so much for the work that you are doing. Thank you for showing up the way you show up. Thank you for inviting me to be here. The world is a better place for your work, you know.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Maria.
You're so welcome. I invite people to. I actually have an upcoming webinar called Safe Within. So, Safe Within: how to really meet the self in order to become more
Yes.
grounded, in order to make any move or life transition, or meet any life transition with a grounded approach. So it's called Safe Within. It's on the 18th of July from 2 to 3 p.m. And people can go to my website, Interbeing Institute. .co.uk, and you can also catch up with my podcast called The Relational Thread, Spotify and YouTube. So yeah, thank you so much.
You got quite an unusual co-host in there, haven't you?
I do, Dylan, my sweet puppet. I love it. He brings me so much joy. Speaking of joy, I'm like, I feel so joyful.
Which I've never seen before. Someone have a co-host who's a puppet. But there is a serious reason for that, isn't there? I know it helps with a lot of questions.
There is a reason, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because it's relational work. It's about meeting our own inner parts with tenderness, meeting our own inner children with the tenderness of a sweet little puppet. You know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Ajay.
Check that one out, guys. Yeah. Great. You offer so much. And again, I'll flip that back to you. Beautiful work. And I feel like this is a powerful shift we're going through as a collective on the planet. A lot of this stuff has come to the surface where we've been living in that kind of very masculine doing energy for so long. And all of a sudden, there's been an obvious shift, hasn't there, since the millennium, where people are being open more to these kind of feminine ways of being, bringing ourselves back into balance, although it's an ongoing process. Beautiful. Thank you, Maria. All right, then. Let's leave it there for today. Thank you all for watching and listening. I'll be back soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Have a beautiful afternoon.